Have you ever stepped into a room and felt an invisible wall of coldness from someone you barely know, or even from people you thought you could trust? It's baffling, isn't it? You can smile, be kind, and yet some faces stay distant, eyes sharp with quiet judgment. Why does this silent friction exist when you've done nothing to provoke it? This kind of quiet dislike, this unspoken tension, is more common than we realize, and it rarely springs from obvious reasons. Beneath the surface, there's often a complex web of feelings, tangled in unvoiced fears, quiet envy, or misconceptions that grow silently over time. Understanding why certain people might carry resentment or dislike without apparent cause is more than just satisfying curiosity. It's a key to navigating the intricate dance of human relationships. It teaches us how to protect our peace, keep perspective, and move forward without losing ourselves in the noise of others' hidden struggles. In this exploration, we'll delve into 9 unexpected triggers behind the secret resentments people hold. These insights come from ancient Stoic wisdom combined with modern psychology, offering a fresh lens to view difficult relationships and perhaps to heal the invisible wounds they leave behind. Before we set off on this journey, I want to pause and thank you for being here. Every comment, every like, every moment you spend with this community fuels this mission to grow wiser and kinder. If this is your first time, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you never miss a chance to deepen your understanding of yourself and others. Now take a deep breath. Let's step together into this hidden world, ready to see clearly and walk with grace through the complexities of human connection. Are you ready? Reason 1. Envy and jealousy. One of the most silent but fierce forces that can twist someone's feelings toward you is envy, that gnawing ache of wanting what another person has, but believing it's forever out of reach. See it, a bitter seed that once planted can grow thorns of resentment in the quietest corners of the heart. Jealousy doesn't always shout. Often it sneaks in under the guise of indifference or coldness. When others witness your successes, your ease, or qualities they crave but feel denied, a shadow can fall over their view of you. What once might have been admiration becomes a toxic mixture of bitterness and silent rivalry. But this isn't really about you. It's about their own inner struggles, the battles with self-worth and longing that they carry, often hidden even from themselves. Instead of celebrating your achievements, they see them as mirrors reflecting what they perceive as their own lack, a painful reminder of unmet desires or perceived failures. In some cases, envy turns darker still, fueling whisper campaigns, subtle sabotage, or quiet undermining, a desperate attempt to level the playing field by pulling others down rather than lifting themselves up. Here's the Stoic truth to hold close. Such poisonous feelings are the other person's burden, not yours. When envy casts its shadow, it's a sign of their own unrest, not a verdict on your worth or deeds. Marcus Aurelius urged us to focus only on what lies within our control, and the feelings of those around us certainly do not. Recognizing envy as the root of some hostility arms you with clarity. It frees you from internalizing their bitterness, letting you meet such negativity with calm awareness rather than confusion or self-doubt. This wisdom preserves your peace and keeps your gaze fixed on your path, unshaken by the storms brewed in others' hearts. Reason 2. Misunderstandings and communication breakdowns. Sometimes the most damaging rifts are born not from grand betrayals, but from the smallest cracks in how we speak and listen. A single phrase said too harshly, a glance misunderstood, or an awkward silence can plant the seeds of resentment that quietly grow between people. Communication is not just about words, it's the bridge that connects one heart to another. But when this bridge falters, even unintentionally, it can become a chasm, What you meant as a casual comment might be heard as a sharp criticism. What was meant to be a joke might feel like a slight. The nuances, the tone, the timing, the unspoken context often go missing, leaving room for shadows to creep in. Add to this the natural human tendency to fill in blanks with assumptions, and suddenly a simple misunderstanding morphs into a story of disrespect or coldness. We start to build narratives that paint the other as uncaring, distant, or even hostile, all without confirming the facts. And when genuine listening is absent, these stories go unchecked. Instead of asking questions, we retreat into our assumptions, reinforcing walls rather than tearing them down. The distance grows, the bitterness festers, and a connection once alive fades into suspicion. That's why the key lies in striving for clear, honest, and compassionate communication. It means checking in with others, seeking to understand before reacting, and giving the benefit of the doubt when things feel off. When we listen deeply and speak openly, many misunderstandings lose their power to divide. Remember, the harshness you feel may be a shadow cast by a missed word or a misread expression, not the true face of the person before you. Reason 3. Clashing core values and beliefs. Imagine life as a vast mosaic, each person a unique tile shaped by their upbringing, experiences, and convictions. Sometimes these pieces fit seamlessly together, creating harmony. Other times, when values collide, the friction is sharp enough to spark deep discord. It's not just about politics or religion. The clashes can be subtle, views on how to work, live, or treat others. When someone's core beliefs feel threatened by another's different perspective, what starts as a simple disagreement can spiral into a defensive fortress of resentment. Holding tightly to one's own truth is natural, but it can blind us to the richness of diversity. When we see differing values as attacks on our identity rather than differences to explore, walls go up. These barriers block empathy and open doors for judgment and contempt to seep in. Stoicism reminds us through Epictetus's words that our beliefs are products of our personal journeys, shaped by the paths we've walked. Recognizing this helps us soften rigid stances and embrace tolerance. It invites dialogue instead of division, understanding instead of disdain. Accepting that others may live by a different set of rules and being okay with it opens space for peaceful coexistence. It's a step toward freeing ourselves from the heavy weight of conflict and resentment born from the need for uniformity. Reason 4. The toxic ripple of rumors and gossip. There's a strange kind of venom that spreads quietly through whispers. Rumors, these half-truths and fabrications, ripple through social circles like invisible poison, twisting perceptions and painting distorted pictures of who you really are. Gossip doesn't need your presence to thrive. It grows in the absence of your voice, morphing stories into versions darker and more dramatic than reality. Before you know it, you're no longer seen as the person you know yourself to be, but as a caricature shaped by others' fears, envies, or misjudgments. What makes gossip so dangerous is its relentless momentum. Like wildfire once ignited, it's nearly impossible to contain. The more scandalous the tale, the faster it spreads, because humans are wired to be drawn to the forbidden and the sensational. This false narrative chips away at trust, isolates you socially, and can harm both your personal and professional life. It's one of the cruelest battles because you're fighting shadows and echoes, not the truth. The antidote: integrity and transparency. Staying rooted in your authentic self, responding with calm where you can, and refusing to engage in the cycle of rumors diminishes their power. Truth doesn't always roar, but it stands firm, patiently outlasting the noise. Remember, the story others tell isn't your story. Guard your peace by holding on to your truth. Reason 5. Personal insecurities and the mirror of projection. Often the harshness others direct at us is less about what we've done and more about what they struggle with inside themselves. When someone wrestles with their own fears, doubts, or failures, they may unknowingly project these insecurities onto those around them. Imagine standing before a cracked mirror. The reflection you see is distorted, fragmented. In the same way, people burdened by their inner struggles often see others not as they truly are, but as reflections of their own vulnerabilities. If they fear failure, they might resent those who seem confident or successful. If they grapple with feelings of inadequacy, they might envy or despise those who appear secure. This projection acts as a shield, redirecting uncomfortable feelings outward instead of facing the pain within. Unfortunately, the person on the receiving end often becomes an unwilling target, blamed for evoking emotions they didn't cause. Seneca, the great Stoic thinker, hinted at this when he noted that insecurity often disguises itself as judgment or hostility toward others. Recognizing this helps us not to take attacks personally, understanding they are echoes of another's internal battle, not truths about ourselves. With this awareness comes compassion for both ourselves and those who lash out. It invites patience and emotional distance, allowing us to hold space for others' struggles without being consumed by them. Reason 6. When empathy is missing, walls rise. In a perfect world, every interaction would be wrapped in empathy, that gentle ability to truly feel and understand what someone else experiences. But the reality is often colder, harsher. Without empathy, people fail to see beyond their own perspectives, building invisible barriers that breed misunderstanding and resentment. Lacking empathy isn't just about missing emotional cues. It's a fundamental disconnect in recognizing others' intentions, feelings, and struggles. This blindness can twist simple actions or words into perceived attacks, feeding bitterness where none should exist. Without empathy, judgments become harsh and black and white. Nuance fades, replaced by rigid opinions and stereotypes. Instead of seeking understanding, people leap to conclusions that paint others as enemies or rivals. Sometimes this absence stems from self-absorption. When someone's world revolves solely around themselves, they have little room left to acknowledge the lives and emotions of those around them. This narcissistic tunnel vision often manifests as indifference or even disdain, leaving others feeling dismissed and hurt. Understanding this can shift our perspective. The resentment directed at us might be less about our actions and more about the other person's emotional limits. It allows us to respond with patience or to protect ourselves by setting healthy boundaries rather than reacting in kind. Reason 7. When competition turns to rivalry, competition is natural. It pushes us to grow and improve. But when it becomes an obsession, it can twist into something darker, rivalry. Suddenly, the goal shifts from self-betterment to wanting others to fail. Rivalry isn't just about wanting to win, it's about tearing down anyone who stands in the way of that victory. When someone feels constantly overshadowed or undervalued, instead of channeling that energy into their own growth, they fixate on diminishing the success of others. This fierce envy can drive people to undermine, spread rumors, or act maliciously, fueled by the belief that someone else's achievements are undeserved or should have been theirs. It's a destructive fire that consumes both the target and the bearer. Marcus Aurelius warned us about this. Unchecked rivalry can lead to behavior that destroys relationships and corrodes character. Recognizing when competition is fueling bitterness helps us choose a different path: collaboration over conflict, respect over resentment. Remember, another's success doesn't shrink your own potential. There is enough space for everyone to thrive, and embracing this truth breaks the chains of rivalry. Reason 8. The weight of social expectations. Imagine walking a path where every step you take is measured against the expectations of those around you, a path lined with invisible rules about who you should be, what choices you should make, and how you should live. When you stray from this unspoken script, it can stir discomfort, judgment, or even quiet resentment in others. Whether it's choosing a career that breaks tradition, forming relationships outside societal norms, or simply living authentically, your decisions can unsettle those who cling tightly to familiar patterns. Their unease isn't always about you personally, but about the challenge your freedom poses to their worldview. This kind of resentment is less about rejection and more about fear. The fear of the unfamiliar, of change, and of questioning long-held beliefs. Your courage in stepping off the beaten path holds up a mirror to their rigidity, sometimes provoking defensive hostility. Yet this life is yours alone. Your fulfillment depends not on conforming to others' standards, but on honoring your own truth. Embracing who you are despite social pressures is an act of profound bravery and essential for genuine happiness. So don't let the weight of others' expectations derail your journey. Own your choices, live boldly, and create a life that reflects your deepest values. Reason 9. The silent sting of being unseen. One of the deepest wounds in human connection comes from feeling invisible, as if your efforts, your successes, your very presence go unnoticed or undervalued. When appreciation is withheld, bitterness quietly settles in, planting the seeds of resentment that can grow into lasting hostility. This pain often thrives in environments where recognition feels scarce, workplaces where hard work is ignored, families where contributions go unacknowledged, or social circles where voices get lost in the noise. The hunger for validation is a universal human need, and when it goes unmet, frustration builds. Epictetus once observed how lack of recognition can become fertile ground for resentment, especially toward those who seem to receive the spotlight instead. Yet it's important to remember that recognition is deeply personal and varies from one individual to another. Some crave it intensely, others less so. To avoid the spiral of negativity, open communication becomes vital. Expressing gratitude and acknowledging others' efforts helps build bridges of respect and prevents the quiet erosion of relationships. In all these complex emotional dynamics, setting boundaries is a shield that guards your peace. It's not a sign of weakness but an act of self-care, choosing not to be dragged into the storms of others' insecurities or bitterness. Remember, the negativity aimed at you often reveals more about the person who carries it than about who you are. Their jealousy, misunderstandings, values, rumors, or insecurities are shadows they battle internally. You are not responsible for others' feelings or for pleasing everyone. With this understanding, you can nurture your own growth, focus on genuine connections, and protect your sense of self-worth. At the heart of these hidden reasons for resentment lies a profound truth. When someone dislikes you, it often reflects battles they fight within themselves. Their envy, misunderstandings, judgments, or fears are mirrors of their own pain, not your failings. So, carry on with integrity and kindness, even when the world casts shadows. Cherish those who see your true worth and stand by your side. Their presence is a reminder that authentic connection exists beyond the noise. In choosing to live authentically, you free yourself from the heavy burden of trying to please everyone. Instead, you build a life rooted in self-respect, resilience, and peace. Your journey is uniquely yours. Walk it with courage and compassion, not just for others but for yourself. If this message resonated with you, please subscribe, ring the notification bell, and share your story in the comments. Whether it's a triumph, a challenge, or simply the word peacefulness, your voice strengthens this community of growth and understanding. Thank you for being here. Keep moving forward, with wisdom lighting your way.